Hello, everybody. Welcome to Late Night Football. Welcome to our news reaction show. It's been a week where I think the off-field has dominated over the on-field, hasn't it? We've got the Manchester City saga. We've got the possible potential takeover for Manchester United. And now we've got the Super League. It's back, folks. And some might say it never went away, and it probably didn't. But it's back, and it's repackaged in a nice little, what do you call it? Nice little bag, and it's in a nice little packaging. You know how sometimes what you do is you put a product in a box and it doesn't work. So what you do is you use the same product, but you come up with a new packaging, and you'd say, okay, right, we didn't package it properly last time. How do you like this package, right? And I think that's what this is. It's the same concept but in a different package, and I think that's what we're seeing with the Super League. So just to go over a few buzzwords, I mean, it's wonderful to look at all the different articles, and I will mention a few because I read a little bit about it, and I found some really interesting ones for all the wrong reasons in most cases, but I really found some interesting links that you can follow. So there's a nice interview on TalkSport where I didn't have a clip of the A22 guy actually talking about the Super League. Do listen to it, because I think for me it encapsulates the whole hypocrisy of this issue that the Super League brings. We make your own minds up about it. I thought it was very funny in a very a train wreck kind of way of actually listening to someone talk about something like that. So do listen to it for sure. And then of course there's the Guardian article, which I thought was very good. Again, you can find on the Guardian the key points in the Super League that they talk about. And one of the things that you will notice is when they mention the new Super League, right? The new and improved Super League, I think what you see is it's called open competition. Why does it say open competition? Because last time it was a closed shop. People didn't want a closed shop, so they've gone, fine, you don't want a closed shop, let's have open competition. What does open competition mean? Nobody knows, right? But the new Super League, the structure, I think the way they've talked about is that they're going to have between 60 to 80 teams. I mean, how are they going to find 60 to 80 teams, right? And it's going to be a divisional structure. And that means that there will be promotion, there'll be relegation. The teams will compete against each other. They said 14 games per year. That's what they've committed to, guaranteed 14 games per year. And of course, they've said that there will be about 400 million euros that will be put in solidarity payments to other leagues, to improving women's football, grassroots football. That is important for them to mention, again, because one of the things that we talked about last time when the Super League was cancelled was it's going to destroy grassroots football. It's going to destroy domestic football. So they've kind of went, okay, you said that, here you go. We're giving you a precise figure. Is 400 million euros enough in giving? I mean, imagine how many leagues are out there and how much, what would the solidarity payments be like? Is that even going to matter? Even if you have say 15 leagues, how much is that? That's like not even 30 million. That's about 25, 26 million euros per league. And that's not counting women's league. I'm just counting 15 domestic leagues. So you give me 25 million euros. It's pocket change, isn't it? It's nice big figures, 400 million euros, but it's not that much when you actually break it down. It's not a lot. So like I said, it's an old concept in a new packaging, and they've made it look nice. The fact is, and the reality is, we all know why this is happening for two reasons. Number one, Barcelona, Madrid, and Juventus were kind of driving this. They're under massive debt. They need money to clear out their debts, and they're not getting that from Champions League revenues. And so what they want is they want to create a Super League, a sort of a league where they can play each other on a guaranteed basis, where you can get to watch. And the Premier League clubs are not involved in this at the moment, but I'm going to include them because that's what the ultimate vision is. The ultimate vision is Barcelona want a league or a system where it can be Barcelona versus Manchester United once or twice a year. You have those matches. You can have Barcelona versus Juventus. You can have Barcelona versus PSG, whatever. Real Madrid against Chelsea. Real Madrid against Liverpool. You have those guaranteed matches. That's what ultimately it is, and those matches are going to make a lot of money in their eyes. That's what they want, and that's what they really want. Is they want that. The second part is the Premier League itself is rolling in money. I mean, we talk about debts, right? I mean, I think Barcelona are close to about £1 billion in debt. Guess how much Chelsea to spend £600 million in 2 transfer windows. That's where they're looking at. They're going, how the hell is this happening? How the hell are talented youngsters, talented young players, world-class players going to the Premier League? Why are they doing it? Why is Erling Haaland in Manchester City? Why is Enzo Fernandez at Chelsea? Why does Jude Bellingham maybe possibly want to go to the Premier League instead of coming to Real Madrid? I think we'll go to Real Madrid, but anyway, right? I mean, it's like, why are these players? Why are these world-class players? Jude Bellingham's not a world-class saver. I just taking out the piss there, but I was trying to think of somebody else. Maybe Kylian Mbappe is at PSG. He's not going anywhere. But why is Mbappe not at Madrid or Barcelona? Why is that happening? Why are these exciting young talents, exciting world-class players, why are they going to the Premier League? Why are they not coming to our clubs? And that's what they want to address. And that's where the money comes in, because they don't have money, right? And they want that. And no offense to any of these clubs, because I love it. I love the stories that you have with Joaquin and Real Betis, the story with Iago Aspas and Celta Vigo. But the fact is, they're thinking, we don't want Barcelona versus Celta Vigo. Nobody's going to watch Barcelona versus Celta Vigo, in a sense of it's going to get us money. We want Barcelona versus Juventus. We want Barcelona versus Milan. That's where the money is. And so that's what they want. The irony is, of course, that they've themselves made their leagues uncompetitive. And there was a talk about, and by the way, that link that I've told you about the video, go and watch it, because the guy actually really says, modern football is in a state of imbalance. There is an imbalance that needs to be addressed. There is a lot of disparity. I mean, imagine if that's not the pot calling kettle black, I don't know what is, because oh my god, I was just laughing, like, who created those those imbalances? Who was the one that created that disparity? It was the big clubs, because they want to take more and more money out of their leagues for themselves, to make themselves competitive in Europe, and to make more money. They kept pulling money out of the league for themselves. They were the ones who kind of made that imbalance. Juventus winning 9-10 league titles in a row is apparently not imbalance. Real Madrid and Barcelona have won, I think, since 2005, which was the last time I think that Valencia won the title in 2005. Since then, in the last how many have we had? 18 almost 17, 18 league titles, and they've won all but 2 of them. So who's the one that's creating these imbalances, right? It's kind of weird when people come out with these things. And so it's not imbalance, it's money, right? And if you look at Juventus' situation, they're not going to play in the Champions League next season, most likely they're not. And where's the money going to come from for them to reduce their debts? It's going to come from being part of this. And that's what it is. Ultimately, it's a way to make more money for themselves. It's a way to undermine the Premier League. But let's be honest and let's be clear. Without the Premier League, there is no European Super League. I mean, the last one had 6 English teams out of 12. Imagine that 6 out of 12 teams in the last Super League were English, right? And it's going to be 7 soon, because Newcastle are going to join that list again. So imagine a league where you have 7 teams that genuinely say they're going to be, competitors next season. Now, Spurs, I know, don't always compete, but the fact is you have 7 high-value, high-net-worth clubs in one league. Imagine that. Imagine a situation where that could happen. It's never likely to happen for a long time in Spain or France or Germany. It's never going to happen for a very long time. It's not going to happen. I think Italy is kind of getting there, not in terms of high net worth, but at least Italy is kind of getting there in terms of competition. If you're going to have 4 different champions in the last 4 years, as far as Italy is concerned, this year when Napoli win it, I think we'll have 4 different champions. So it's happening in Italy, but there's no net worth. The net worth will take some time to increase. But imagine having 7 of those kind of richest clubs in the world in one league, and that's what they want. They don't want that. They want 7 of the world's richest clubs should be in our Super League, and that's what they want to do. But it took a while. I mean, the thing is, creating a competitive league takes time, right? Even for the Premier League, competitive league that can actually make you money takes time. It took, I think, not until 2013. I don't think the league kind of financially started dominating as before 2013. And 2013 was, I remember that was the year when Sir Alex Ferguson retired. In the summer, there were all these mid-table clubs that started spending huge amounts of money. That's, I think, when it kick-started. So that was 20 years after the Premier League was formed. So you've got to give yourself time from 20 years from now to go, right, 20 years from now, we will have built the structures in place where our league will start getting competitive, we'll start making more money, and then we can start attracting, big players. Even the mid-table clubs can attract big players. But nobody wants to wait 20 years these days, do they? They want instant success. 20 years from now is not going to help Barcelona or Real Madrid's debts. They need money now. And the only way they're going to get money now is if they go into a Super League where they can play Ajax every week, where they can play, Milan every week, where they can play, Manchester United every week, Bayern every week. And that's where they know, right, that's where we're going to get the money. When we tell broadcasters, listen, you don't have to worry about this competitive bullshit. You don't have to worry about the fact that, there's a knockout stage where we might play, where you might get Barcelona versus Manchester United, or you might get Real Madrid versus Manchester City. Don't worry about that. Sign up pay for our league. We're guaranteeing you 14 games. And in those 14 games, we're guaranteeing you that you're going to get these high profile games. Right. And that's so pay us the money. And of course, I'm not saying UEFA are great in this. UEFA are corrupt. We know that. FIFA are corrupt. We know that. And the fact is that, in some ways, maybe they see them as a middleman. They see them as like, well, UEFA take the money that we make and they then give us a portion of it. Rather than that, let's us be the masters of our own destiny, so to speak. And I have no issue with that. I have no issue inherently with a competition that's different from UEFA, which is actually truly built on open competition and not a desire to get money. But the thing is, this is about greed, right? And I think with the divisional system, what will probably happen is you'll probably have maybe 16, 17 teams, maybe 18 teams. If you're talking 60 teams, you're probably maybe looking at 20 teams across maybe 3 leagues, or maybe 80. So probably something like that. And in that, you've got the 12, 14 biggest clubs, and then you've got 5 or 6 mid-table clubs or whatever smaller clubs, and they'll kind of just switch positions. So you still have the 12 clubs that are there. That's how it will work, right? That's how it'll work. And then the others kind of go, right, maybe we'll get relegated, but at least once every 2-3 years we'll get the chance to get into the big leagues and play with the big clubs. And that's still good enough for them. So it's there. Do I think it will happen? I mean, there is a European Court of Justice ruling that's supposed to come, where I think UEFA are basically going that you can't have a competition that that is not organized by us. It can't be sanctioned. So that ruling is still awaiting. If that ruling goes through in favor of the Super League, then I think we will see this picking up momentum and picking up steam. For now, I think it's less likely, and I think the fact is that there are issues. That the biggest one, of course, is convincing Premier League clubs to join. But I don't think that is as big an obstacle as we think. Yes, at the moment there is sorry about that. At the moment, there is, of course, the thing that the Premier League, there's a charter and there's a regulation in place where the Premier League clubs can't go into the Super League, but that might change. That might change at some point. And I mean, not that it would change, but sorry about that. That might change, but at some point we might very well see one club goes in, and if they're making money, then other clubs will want to go in, right? That's certainly how it works, right? So all they need is probably one club to go in. So nonetheless, I think, let me know. Got a big call over there, I don't know what's going on, but let me know what you think about it. Of course, it's always love to hear your opinions on it. I do think that without the Premier League, the Super League is just another it's just another glorified friendly competition in a way, isn't it? It's just another competition that some people might be interested in, some people might not. But when you have the Premier League in there, the behemoth that is there, that's the game changer, because that having the Premier League clubs in the Super League kills the Premier League as well. It kills 2 birds with 1 stone. You kill the Premier League off, because I mean, if you're making 500 or 600 million euros, in one competition guaranteed, and you're only making, maybe 200 million in another one. So how do you? So I'm just gonna turn this silent here. How do you justify one over the other? Right? How do you justify? How do you go, right? Play, have our best players playing in one competition, and then you sacrifice the other one, which is the one that sacrifices the Premier League. So anyway, there's all sorts of nuances to it, and hopefully we'll get more clarity, and we'll kind of talk more about that in the future. But let me know what you think. Of course, I would love to hear your comments. I know there are people who like the idea, and there are people who don't. So I'm happy to hear both sides, of course, of it. I do see some merits of it. I just don't like the way that it's been presented so far. So maybe that's what it is. But let me know what you think. Of course, do smash a like if you enjoyed this video. Sorry for the interruptions with the phone, but do smash a like if you enjoyed it. Do subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. We're getting close to 100 subscribers on Facebook, so please do follow us there if you can. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again soon. Bye bye.